Good afternoon, guys. MWUSA Season 3, Episode 209. So here we are. It's Sunday afternoon, and we are heading out for the day. Going to be a long one, I think. Hopefully. Tomorrow's going to be a long day at work. A lot of stuff, a lot of meetings, lots of garbage that I hate. And so I'm making an effort here to make a little bit more money every week and hopefully get out of work sooner. I would love to be out of that office within a year. But I've got to make a lot more money than I am right now to make up for it. So we're going to see what we can do. Try to make more money. You know, right now 77 degrees, and I'm heading off to my first casino. This week was okay. It was up and down. We did well overall. I have no idea how much money I made for the week, but right now I'm focused on today, moving in the right direction and getting some money. So that is where I am right now. Really don't have much to talk about, and I'm going to let you go and be back after my first stop. Alright guys, I am back. So I go into that first place, and there's other people in there checking stuff, and I'm not finding any plays. I find one play and play that one through, and it just plays horribly. Luckily, it was a low denomination. Talked to a couple people I knew in there for a while, and that's really about it. One guy just got back from vacation, and he wasn't really happy to be back doing this, and then there was a couple other people I talked to, and they were just hanging out doing their thing, and they usually just stay in one location, so not really much happening with them, just walking around the same place all day long. So when I was done, by the time I was done playing the one thing that I played, I was down $36, so minus $36 there, and moving on to another casino right now. So yeah, everything's so up in the air with work and with this stuff, and just not great. So just gotta get myself back into the rhythm again. So anyway, I'll be back. All right, guys, moved on, stopped at the next place. Again, not really much going on, and actually things were paying awfully, not good at all. Just not the kind of day. I mean, ended up playing 3 or 4 things, ended up waiting for a lot of people to get up so that I could take their place and look at the machine, and still wasn't finding anything. Was there for about an hour, and ended up leaving ahead $114. On my drive now to the next casino, I've been driving for a little while now, and we just had what appeared to be a car accident, but there's no accident, so I don't know what's going on. We slowed down to near zero and then sped back up, and then now we're slowing down again. So I don't know what's going on here, but allegedly there's a car accident somewhere. So that's slowing me down. Yeah, really not much happening today. So, we're going to continue on here. Hopefully things get better. But so far today, not a great day. I'll be back. All right, guys, just leaving the next casino. And I was in there for probably a little over 30 minutes. Found just a couple plays, not much at all really. And the first play only made me like $6 or $8 or something like that. And the second play was one that normally doesn't produce very well, but it was in range, and I played it, and it actually did pretty well on less than $1 a spin. Ended up winning like 165, and then one last play paid me out about $20 or so, and overall ended the session ahead $195, so plus $195. And I did see some people checking things in there, and there it was pretty crowded in there. But I really didn't see any other place, even on machines that people were already sitting at. I didn't see anything possible to make money off. So at this point, I'm going to move on to another place. I'm going to try to get some blackjack in. I don't know if I'll be able to. Most of the time, this place is going to be full. There's not going to be any opportunities to sit down. So we'll see what happens. We're going to attempt to play some blackjack. We'll see what happens. Right now, temperature is 75 degrees. It's a nice day. Nice day to be outside, but we're going to be inside trying to make money, trying to do all the right things. At this point also, I really haven't eaten much today. Considering stopping somewhere, just don't really have an appetite right now. So I'm going to continue on, and I do have some fruit juice in the car. We'll drink that, and then we'll see what happens at the next stop. So not really much happening right now. Pretty quiet day overall. So I'm gonna move on. I'll be back. All right, guys. As I'm continuing my trip to the next casino, just wanted to tell you about something that was going on. My friend that lives in Vegas now, that I sent out there, blah blah blah. I told you about that. I sent him out there almost about 2 years ago now. Is it really that long? Well, anyway, he's not doing very well. He's in a long-term care facility right now and lost a lot of weight. Been having seizures and just overall not doing well. I got to see a picture of him today for the first time in a long time since I've been to Vegas, which was whatever that was, April or May. And looks pretty skinny. He's got a black eye because he fell and hurt himself, and just feeling bad for the guy. And I never really kept a million friends around me. Never wanted to really worry about all that came with it, all the weddings, all the funerals, all the ups and downs and everything. And here we are, another friend. And I don't know how long he'll make it, but I don't know if I'll even be in Vegas in November now, but that's the goal. And so they want to move him to a better facility because he's going to probably be there for the rest of his life. So, hopefully he gets better. Hopefully they figure out what the problem is and get him on the right meds to control it, and he can still be around for a while. He's not that old, but anyway, that's something that was on my mind that I wanted to tell you guys about. I'll be back. Alright guys, I'm back. Man, I missed out on an opportunity there. I had this shoe, and starts off, pretty flat, no big deal. About a quarter of the way in the shoe, count starts going up. Okay, raise the bet a little bit. Count goes up, raise the bet a little bit, lose hand, lose a hand, lose a hand, lose a hand. I bought in 4 times. 4 times I bought in before I won my first hand. Counts going up, counts going up, counts going up. I keep raising and raising and raising. So there I had a 1-14 spread. 1-14. And I got a little freaked out there for a minute. I got involved. I was in the shoe. This is a $50 a hand shoe, right? First shoe, I was involved $3,500 on the first shoe of a $50 a hand table. So I'm down $3,000 at this point, and things start to turn around. The count keeps going up. So now we're down to the last deck of the shoe. We got a running 15 with less than a deck to go. I got the pit boss right next to me, watching what I do, because I've been complaining this whole time how I'm losing and rebuying and losing and rebuying, and he's watching me, and he types my bet in on the computer. He comes back and he types it again and comes back. I'm like, oh man, let's not do this today. And then he comes back at the end of the shoe with this huge count, and it looks like we're pretty much done, and I'm putting my top bet out there, and the dealer gets the dealer had an 8 and a 5, and I end up winning the hand. I had a choice to make, which really wasn't a choice based on the count, and I made the right decision, quote, right decision. And the pit boss says, well, let's see what would have happened. Oh no, I busted. Yeah, I made the right decision and I busted. And the pit boss goes, it was 15, right? I'm like, no. She had a 13, but the count was a 15. What does this guy know? So it ends up being a couple more hands, and I'm betting high on all of them. And the shoe ends. I go from being down 3,000 to being up 315 by the end of the shoe, due to a weird situation that happened, which is not important. So I end up ahead $315 by the end of that shoe, and I'm like, I gotta get out of here. This guy is freaking me out with that. First of all, typing in my bets and then saying the exact number that the running count was. I mean, it was really weird. So it might have been that he thought, she had a 15, but it freaked me out, and I paused for like 3 seconds. Anyway, maybe not 3 seconds, but I paused for a second. So I end up leaving that, and then I end up finding a couple slots to play. One of them was like an incredible position, and I play that one, and I end up ahead $2. And I'm like, you gotta be kidding me. $2 on that play? It was such a big play. $3 a spin. Nice play, nice everything. And end up only ahead $2. And then I end up playing another one, and I ended up winning a little bit more on that one, and ended my slot session ahead 52. So plus 315 on the blackjack, which I'm not clear what happened there, and plus 52 on the slots. And I saw a dealer I hadn't seen in a long time, which was like the dealer that would always save me whenever she would come to the table. All of a sudden, no matter how bad things were going, I'd be running like gold. And she was there. I didn't play at her table, but because she was dealing a bad double deck table. Anyway, this guy, he's always made me wonder, because in the past he's had some remarks that were weird also, but he seems friendly enough. But whatever, ended up ahead there. That's all that matters, I guess. And we're moving on to another place. We're just gonna take a peek in this place real quick. There's only a couple machines, and I'll be back out to the car, and we'll figure out what to do from there. But stay went from not fun to creepy, and we'll see what happens from here. So letting you go for now. I'll be back. Alright guys, I go into this next place, and I'm not seeing anything. And I go into the back area, and I see a borderline play that could be huge good or huge bad. It's going to depend on how it starts out. And so I say, okay, I'm going to wait on that. I'm going to look around, see if there's anything else, and then I'll come back to it maybe. But I find another play. I play that one through. I lose about $52 or $55 on that one. So I go back to the other play. I look at it, and I decide that it's in range. It's worth it. So I start playing it, and it starts paying pretty well, and things are going good. I'm in for a total of $200, and then the bad slide starts, and I'm losing. It's only like $1 something a spin. I'm losing. I get down to $10 before it finally hits, and it pays out well, just the way I thought it would. And so starting with $200, I get down to $10, and I end up cashing out $731. So I ended up ahead. Wait, 200 total or 220? No, $711. There you go, 711. So I ended up ahead $511 on that one, and that one took about 750 spins, but it worked out the way I thought it would. and I took some stats down because I don't play this one too often, so I just wanted to verify my numbers that I have, make sure that this occasion of using the machine fits into the guidelines that I thought it would be, and it seems like it does, but I'll have to double check when I'm at home or in a place that I have time to look. So plus $511 there, and which is pretty sad that that's better than the blackjack session I had. I'm moving on to another place, and we're going to play some blackjack, hopefully. The problem is the high limit might be set at 100 right now, and I'd rather play a lower amount right now. So we'll see what happens. You saw with that, even that $50 table, when I had just a small slide in one shoe, it just stripped away $3,000 in an instant. So anyway, the sun is setting now. It's almost completely gone. 72 degrees outside, and I'm continuing on to the next casino, and I'll come back and let you know how things go. So real quick, by the way here, when I finished playing blackjack and I went to cash out, this particular casino's limit is $3,000 before they ID you. So I cashed out $2,500, and then I went to the poker room and cashed out the rest. But I was talking to one of the cashiers, not the one cashing me out, but another one, and I mentioned a number above $3,000 while I was talking to him, and it immediately triggered this girl to ask me for ID, and I should have just kept my mouth shut. But anyway, I said, no, I'd rather not, and I'm below your limit anyway. And then she just paid me the money, and it was over. So I have a feeling that it wasn't because she wanted to. I think she got faked out, and she heard that number and immediately asked me for ID before she thought it through. So no issue there. And generally, I don't like to cash $500 chips at this poker room because the limits here are generally lower for poker, and usually you're not going to go up with 2 or 3 $500 chips. But I didn't have any issue. I just walked up to the poker cashier and I said, well, I guess I'm just going to cash the rest of it out, and she just gave it to me, no issue. So no problem there. Here I am pulling into the next casino, and we're going to go in and tear these guys up. I'll be back. Hey, how's it going?
Not too bad, how are you?
All right. May I ask you a question?
Yeah.
Don't be offended. How come all your pictures up there are about people stealing money from casinos? All your movies are about heists at a casino, Ocean's 11, all that stuff.
Oh, you mean the
the
posters?
Yeah.
I didn't know exactly what you were talking
It's like
about at first.
that's the last thing you want to do by the cashier.
Yeah,
You know?
I guess I never really thought of that way.
Sorry, that's a big one there. 2 cents.
Oh, no problem.
How's your day going?
That's okay. It's almost done, so it'll be really better.
Oh, that's good.
That happened.
What time is it? Oh, you probably at 8 o'clock. That's good.
No, actually, I'll get out at 9:30, but
Oh, okay.
but
Wishful thinking is good.
I work 10 hours, so to me, it's almost done.
Oh, that's weird. So you only work 4 days a week?
Yep.
Oh, that's not so bad.
No, it's good. It's really good. That helps out a lot.
Yeah.
$95.02.
All right, guys, I am back. So I don't know if you heard anything there or not. That was the cashier. Let's see. When I got to the cashier, I had 2 vouchers, one for 2 cents, which for some reason none of the machines would take, and one for $95. And then I had a chip. And so I asked the guy, because right by their cashier, it has all these posters of all these movies like Ocean's 11 and all these heist movies and people stealing money, and then it has 21. And I asked him what he thought about that, because it's right by the cashier. You'd think that would be like the worst place to have it. And he didn't really have much of an opinion. But I did find out that the cashiers get off work at 9:30, and that they work a 10-hour shift. So for people that I know, now I know to tell them people in this area that I know, that would be helpful for them to know. So, and they work 4 days a week. So I did play some slots, and I bought in for a total of $0. There was a 76-cent voucher in the machine I was going to play, and I used that at 50 cents, 60 cents a spin, and that's all I needed, actually. And I ended up ahead $95.02, $95 on the slots. I did play some blackjack. It was hard to find a table. I only found one table, and the dealer was a real ass, I must say. She saw me coming up, and it's no mid-shoe entry, and she looked at me, and I waved, hold on a minute, and she asked the guy, she said, there's a guy coming, do you want me to wait for him, or do you want me to deal? Thanks a lot, ass. Why don't you just say that where I can hear it? And that's just ridiculous. So, you know how much I tipped her, right? Yeah, I normally I would tip more, but I tipped her $0. But that table was not good for me at all. I was ahead like the first or second hand, and after that, it was pretty much negative. But I was never down more than like 4 or 5 units, maybe 6 units, and I was never up more than 2 units. And I ended up actually leaving at the end of a shoe plus $0, which I hate zero because it screws with your all your calculations, dividing by 0, all these different things. So anyway, no big deal. $0 there, and plus $95 on the slots. I didn't even think about this. I could go to another place that has blackjack, but it's about 2 hours away. Let me think about that for a second. I did get some food as well. They have this burger that they call a steak burger. So I tried that, and it comes with nothing, no fries, no nothing. So not that I care, but I thought it was interesting. They handed me this tiny little box, like a jewelry box. I'm like, this is the whole thing? But it was actually pretty good, and I ate it before I even walked out of the casino. I was walking down the aisle, getting ready to leave the casino, and chewing on that, and it was pretty good, actually. And I did get some other snicks and snacks for later on, so I have it if I need it. So at this point, I have like 5 or 6 miles on this road before I have to make a decision, left or right, and that'll make a big difference. Either I'm going to drive 45 minutes or 2 hours to our next casino. So let me figure things out here with the time, and I will come back and let you know. Alright guys, I am back. So as it turns out, this casino that I thought was a couple hours away is a little bit closer than that. So we're going to go ahead and go there, and on the way there we're going to have to stop for gas. So we're going to go ahead, get some gas, continue our trip, and we should be able to play some blackjack. So we'll see what happens here. Hopefully they have some double deck and we can play that. If not, we'll play 6 deck. So I'm going to continue on here, and I'll be back. Alright guys, I am back, and something happened in there that is going to last for a while here. So let me explain the whole story here, exactly what happened, and this we'll probably revisit this 2 or 3 times later on, and I may release the audio of it once I clean it up. I only need to redact 2 or 3 words out of a 20-minute conversation I had. So here's what happened. I go into this casino, and looking at slots first. Look at slots, everything's good. Find a couple plays. I'm going to run through this kind of fast here because the other part takes longer. And everything's fine. I end up ahead 50, who knows, $56, $57, something like that. I have to look at the money in my pocket because they just paid me. So, no, $65. So I'm ahead $65. So I walk by the high limit blackjack area a couple times, and there is nothing open. There are 2 tables open. There's a double deck and a 6 deck, and both are completely full, and there's nowhere for me to sit down. And I make a couple laps, and I'm getting ready to give up, and I come back around, and there's no one at the double deck table. I'm like, okay, this is awesome. Let's go to the double deck table. I go to the double deck table, and I sit down. Well, first I go over there, and it looked like, what is going on here? Something's wrong with my map. Sorry, guys. Okay, so it looks like maybe they're changing cards out. So I'm like, I guess they're not open. And then I noticed that she spread the cards and left them at the table, on the table. So I said, okay. I go sit down, buy in for 500, and lose every hand. Buy in for a total of 1,500, and I lose every hand. Now things level off a little bit. So I'm in for 2,000, and I'm bopping around there for a while, and then I lose that. And then I'm in for 2,500, and then 3,000, and then I buy in for 1,000, put me in for 4,000 total, and I get up to like 2,800, and then lose it all again. All the high counts, it seems like all the high counts and all the double downs and splits were all going wrong. So that's why the money was going fast. So I end up buying in for, actually I was in for 4,500, and then I needed to rebuy for a $400 double down, and I ended up just buying in 400 more. The reason for that is, number one, I don't want to buy in for over $5,000. That's the most important reason, because that is their level where they call and they start watching you. So I kept it under $5,000 at 4,900. I won the double down hand and played with that money for a while. About 2 hours later, I had gone up to within probably 2,000 of even. I wasn't that close, and ended up losing it. I bought in for 500 more. Now I'm in for 5,400, and then I needed to rebuy again. I bought in for 600 more just to make it even. So I was in for a total of $6,000. So I'm at this table for a very long time. The total time at this table was 4 hours and 45 minutes. So on a double deck table, it's a pitch table. That was a long time. And I'm going to tell you some things that happened along the way here in a second too. So I keep playing, and I end up losing that. But now I'm at the end of a shoe, and I've got an enormous count. I'm talking really big count. So I say to the dealer, okay, here's 1,000. That puts me in for 7. I said, just give me $500 chips. He said, okay. He said, 1,500 chips requested. I'm trying not to say the color because it's different. So he gives me $1,000, and I get an 11 against a 7. Okay, well, we have a high count. We should be good, right? No, wait, no, that's not what I had. That was a different hand. I had an ace 5 is what I had against 5 or a 6. I can't recall. All right, so I'm in for, it's $1,000 hand, ace 5 against a 5 or a 6. And so I got to double down, right? And I'm like, oh gosh, this double down, this is going to be painful if I lose. This will put me in $8,000 if I lose. I rebuy for another 1,000. I put it out there. I've got an ace 5. I get a 7. So now I have a 13. 13 against the 6. Dealer turns over a 2 for an 8. They want 8, 11, 16, bust. Yeah, 8, 11, 16, bust. And I won the $2,000 hand. Now, the pit boss was standing there watching at this point, and I'm like, man, I feel like I should put the whole 4,000 out. And I wasn't going to. I was going to do another $1,000 hand. And he said, well, you can't. You know, there's a table limit and this and that. Oh, okay. I said, okay, I'll put less. So I played, $1,000. And I won that hand. And now I'm back in the game, right? I bought in for a total of 8. I've got 5 in front of me. And I put the $500 chips in my pocket. I just need to turn what's in front of me into 6,000 to get even. and now they closed the 6-deck table. Okay, 6-deck table is closed. Now what are we going to do here? They're going to close my table. They're like, okay, well, just want to let you know that, we're here for another hour, but after that, we don't have anyone for the table. I'm like, okay, this is a high limit, and that's how you're treating your high limit player? I'm like, okay, well, I guess that's fine. And so I continued to play, and now I'm going to go back a little bit. So earlier on, I was playing by myself, and then with an Asian lady who was playing everything wrong, and then with another guy who came in, bought for $2,500, lost, bought in for $2,500 more, lost, and he was going nuts. $500, $1,500, $1,800, $1,200, every hand, up and down, up and down. He didn't care. So when he busted the total of $5,000, he got upset because the Asian lady wasn't hitting her ace-7 against the 10, and it caused him to lose a hand, which was a huge hand, and I totally understand, but he got upset and he left. When the Asian lady left, he came back and he played for a little while. He lost them. Did he lose? No, he ended up turning 2,500. No. Okay, so he leaves down 5,000. He comes back and he says, yeah, you know how I lost 5,000? I went and played some poker, some video poker, and I got quad twos and I won $5,000. I'm like, I don't know what the payouts are. I'm sure he's not lying, but he said he won $5,000 on quad twos on a game. So he came back, he buys in for $2,500 again, and I think he ends up coloring up and leaving with $4,000. So he got $1,500 of that $5,000 that he lost earlier back, so he's down like $3,500. He takes off. Now, a young kid comes, a Hispanic kid with a little mustache, who I think is in the military. For sure he's in the military in North Carolina, and he's never played blackjack before. And he comes to this $100 double-deck table with $125. He's got 5 $25 chips, and that's what he came to the table with. So he sits down. He's like, you mind if I play? I thought he had $5,000 chips in his hand because the colors are different, but they were $25 chips. I thought he knew what he was doing, but he had no clue what he was doing. So he buys in for $125, or he not buys, he has chips, and he runs it up to like $1,200 on this table. Meanwhile, I'm treading water the whole time, like from the time that he got to the table to the time that he left, like 45 minutes later, I had just about the same amount of money. He didn't leave with all the money. He ended up losing it all, and he took off. And then the Asian lady came back, and then she lost. And then he came back, and he looked like the cat that swallowed the canary, like he just did something. And he looks at me and he smiles. He said, I just hit my parlay. I'm like, that's awesome, dude. Good job. I'm thinking he got like 2,000 or 3,000. No, he got $260. He buys in for $260, sits down at the table, and starts playing again, runs it up to about 800, ends up losing it all again, and takes off. Now, the first time he ran it up, I said, you played this wrong and this wrong. I helped him out a little bit. When he came back, I said, you're going to play it right now, aren't you? Again, he played everything wrong again, wouldn't listen to people. He didn't know, so it's a pitch game. So if you don't know, a pitch means that they deal it face down, they throw the cards. Then you pick them up, and then you use the cards to signal hit, or you tuck them under to stay. You flip them over if you have a blackjack or a split or a double. And he didn't understand any of this, and I had to teach him. And he was like picking up his chips, putting down the cards, and putting the chips on top of the cards. And the dealer didn't say anything. This place is like the most ridiculous place sometimes. Anyway, so he ends up busting out and leaving. Now, there's an older guy he's got gray hair and a beard and a mustache, obviously, and he's standing behind me, and I'm like, this guy looks a little suspicious to me. I wonder what's going on. And he stands there for like 2 hours watching me play, and I'm thinking, I'm going to keep my spread low. I'm not going to have any problem here. I can still win my money back with a smaller spread. So he ends up being there the whole time I was at the table. And after about 4.5 hours to 4 hours and 45 minutes, I was able to get ahead and finish the shoe, and they had to close. And I was ahead $150. So I bought in for $8,000, and I colored up $8,150. So I said to the pit boss, am I going to have trouble cashing this out? Because I don't want to give my ID. He's like, no, I'll be fine. I'll call up there. They'll be fine. They won't ask you for anything. I said, okay. I go up there. They're like, I need to see your ID. I'm like, okay. I don't want to give you my ID. Well, we can't cash your chips then. I said, well, then just give me my chips back. They give me my chips back. I go back to the high limit area. I tell the pit boss. He calls the manager. The manager comes over. He says, what's going on? I said, look, I'm a high-ranking card here, the highest-ranking card. I just don't want to get a bunch of mailers that are going to get me to come back in here a bunch of times and lose a bunch of money. Oh, well, you don't have to get mailers. I said, look, the first time I came in here, they told me that because I bought in for too much. They said, don't worry, you won't get mailers. I was getting big offers. I started coming in, and I lost a lot of money. He's like, okay, I totally understand. You don't have to worry about it. We're not going to do that, but they need your ID. I said, look. Now, okay, so I did graduate in accounting. So I told him that I was in accounting. I didn't say I was an accountant, but I said I was in accounting. I did at one point say I do I help people with their taxes, which is true. I look at them, and they do their due diligence and go to a CPA if they need to. But I tell them where to look on the IRS and all that to find information. So I'm not giving advice or doing any of that stuff. So anyway, he said, no, you've got to give ID. It's the state law. I said, I read your state law. It's not in your state law. Your state law says you need to pay me on demand immediately. And he said, no, that's not true. I said, if you can show me that in your state law, I'll be happy to give you ID and go up there. He said, well, I can give you so-and-so's phone number in compliance, and you can call them, and then you can work it out with them. I said, look, I live really far away from here. I don't want to have to come back again. I said, can we just get this stuff cashed? And he says no. And so at this point, I can't go back to the cashier. I can leave with the chips. But he told me if you leave with the chips, then we're going to put you on a CTR watch. And if you come back in and we know who you are, we're going to ban you. I said, okay, well, that's nice. I said, well, I'm going to call gaming then. He said, oh, I can do that for you. I'll call him. So this particular state that I'm in is a little bit different. I don't want to say why, but let's just say the gaming people are more than gaming people. And they have a lot of authority. And I believe it was Nichols or somebody else from BJA that told the story about being chased by some people. That's where it is. So if you know enough about that, then you'll know. Anyway, gaming comes out, and they swear to me that they have to get my ID. It's the state law, and they have to do a CTR, even though it's not over $10,000. Now, normally I would just cash out $2,500 and leave, but they had told me, don't worry about it, we'll take care of it. So I listened. And in other states, I've said, look, it's not over $10,000, cash it, and they've cashed it with no problem. But today, these guys decided that they wanted to make an issue out of it. And they told me, if I leave, I can't come back to this place again. And I want to come back to this place because I want to take more of their money. So I talked to gaming for a long time, and they swear to me, they're like, do you know every regulation? And I'm like, that's a loaded question, and no one can answer that, even you, with a yes. You don't know every regulation, but I would wager that I would probably know more than you, and he wasn't happy about hearing that. So he basically said, there's nothing I can do for you, and you're basically breaking the law if you don't give them your ID at this point. So I had a choice. I had a choice to leave with the chips, come back later, and hope that they don't say anything, and they don't cause a problem. Or number two, I can give them my ID. Now, I had said to the pit boss, did I do anything wrong? Did I steal? Was I suspicious? Anything like that? Oh no, you were great. Everything is fine. That was earlier. So now I let the gaming guys go. I go stand in line, and I'm going to give my ID. Now, I did nothing wrong, and my spread was low. It wasn't a big deal, and nobody has any problem with me. So I said to the guy, if I'm giving you my ID, am I going to get credit for these 4 hours and 45 minutes that I just played back there, betting up to $1,000 a hand? And he said, yeah, I can rate you. I can put you in. He said, and I can even put it in so that you don't get any kind of mail. I said, don't do that. I said, at this point, just put me in, rate me. I don't want to have any problems when I come back. So he promised me that he was going to rate me. So I'm like, yeah, right. This guy, he's really trustworthy. Everything is going wrong at this point. So I said, all right, let's go. And we go to the cashier. We cash out. I give them the ID. They give me the money. I had a voucher also. There's no way I'm not going to cash the voucher because their machine doesn't give change, and I'm getting my change. I had them cash everything out. The whole line was backed up because of me. Nobody else could go. There was only one cashier and a supervisor and the casino manager. See how good of a job I did of not bringing attention to myself? I had the police there. I had gaming there. I had the table games manager, the casino manager, the cage manager, and the cage supervisor, and the cashier. But other than that, it was a private affair. Other than that, so anyway, so I just checked, and the guy did rate me, and he rated me what's equivalent to what running $20,000 through a slot machine. That's how much he rated me. So I did take a screenshot. I'm going to take another screenshot before and after for later to look at it. But he definitely is like 21,000 and change in slot. That's the value of the points that he gave me. So at this point, I'm screwed. At this point, I'm going to go home. I'm going to change clothes, and I'm going to go to work. And I am out of time. I had 2 to 3 more casinos I was going to hit. There's no chance of hitting them. I mean, there is, but I'm not doing it. It's not worth it. So that's where we are right now. That's what happened. So I don't know what to say. I guess if he hadn't said you can't come back, I would have probably left. But I didn't want to be in their system and then flagged and have issues. He did rate me, so I don't think I have any problem there. I did spread one hand at 1,000, one hand at 100 to one hand at 1,000. You weren't allowed to spread to 2 hands because they consider that a mid-shoot entry, even though it's the same player. Some places will let you do that, and some places won't. So this one won't. But their double deck is really good. It's got good rules, and it really is the best double deck around. And they cut it thin. And I had some huge swings. I had $5,000 swings repeatedly, up and down, like crazy. I had runs of winning 3,000 or 4,000, and I had runs of losing 3,000 or 4,000, probably 10 times. But I didn't have any issues, didn't have any problem. Now here's another thing, is you get 4 free drinks when you come here if you're a certain tier level, and I am. And I go to get them, and the machine is broken, and I only get 2. So, and then I asked somebody, they're like, well, I can't help you. You have to wait for the Players Club, and it's closed right now. I'm like, okay, fine, I'm leaving. So I took my 2 free drinks, 2 free sodas, and I left. So right now, as you can tell, it's kind of quiet because I am in the middle of nowhere. I've been driving for 20 minutes, and this highway has a traffic light. There is nobody around at all. I've been at this traffic light for a minute already, and there's no sign of it turning green. Here we go. Now I'm going to get to go. But just thinking it through here, I guess I screwed up. I screwed up in that I should always stick to what I always do, and that is just to cash out what I know their limit is. It's $3,000 here, and I should have just cashed out $2,500 and taken the rest of it with me and come back in a few days and cashed out some chips before played, and then cashed out chips after, and I wouldn't have had a problem. And I made myself memorable, which is bad, and everybody remembers me now. The police, the gaming, the manager, the table games manager, the cage manager, the cage supervisor, and the cashier. Other than that, no one's going to remember me. The funny thing is, I haven't played here for a while, and I didn't think anyone would recognize me, but one of the supervisors did. He said, you used to play here a couple years ago. And I said, yeah, but he didn't know my name, which was interesting. But I think everything is okay. I don't think they're going to review the tape. A lot of people were betting a lot of money around me, way more than I was betting, and there was no issues, and they're closing down. I don't think that they're going to flag anything. The guy shook my hand when I left. I may be wrong. I might get a letter tomorrow. I don't know. But it seems like everything is okay. So right now, I still have, let's see how many more miles. 200 more miles to get home. Ooh. Ugh. Sorry, red light. So I'm going to continue on my trip here, and I'll be back to update you. All right, guys, I just listened to that recording, and I'll probably release it later, but not now. I have to do a lot of adjusting to it. The guy talks about where he lives and where I live and the roads around it and things going on, and what kind of businesses are there and stuff. So I'll get that out later on, and we'll publish it. But I learned some things. So I learned, number one, when you play unrated, in the pit they put you in as a refusal. We all knew that already. And all he has to do is put my card number in, and all of a sudden I'd be rated for that person. So obviously if they thought I was doing something wrong, then they would be able to connect me, and then they would know, hey, it was me, and we're going to kick this guy out. The cashier, however, is not connected to the pit in any way in the computer. So if you give your ID at the cage and they put it in the system and all that kind of stuff, then it stays there. Now, that doesn't mean that the table people can't call and say, hey, I want that information after that guy leaves. But in this case, obviously, I was not on the radar. Everything would have been fine if I had just given the ID in the first place. But it's interesting to know that it's two different systems, and the cashier's system will check to see if you're banned or self-banned, and if you are, they're looking for you or whatever. So all that information is in there. And then obviously in the pit, if they suspect you, they can put notes on your actual account, which is different than the cashier account. So it's actually very interesting. I learned a few things there. And basically the way they were getting around the law, and I think this is important for everybody to know, is, okay, and I've read this law, and it's BS. It really is. And it's in a lot of states go by this. So if you go into a casino and you're not doing anything wrong, if they suspect you're doing something wrong, then they can ask you for ID, and they can not cash you, and they can force you to leave and put you on a list if they know who you are, or put you on a list for like the facial recognition so that they can kick you out if you come back in. So in other words, I remember I was at a casino, and I said, hey, how does it work with sports betting? Is there any kind of W-2? Oh, I can't tell you that. Okay, well, so can I win $1 million without a W-2? Well, there is a number, but I can't tell you what that number is. And that same law that has to do with that is this. So basically what they mean by there's no set number, basically, where they will give you a W-2 or ask you for your ID unless they have a suspicion that you're doing something wrong. Then it's their obligation to get that information and check up on you. So what this guy was saying was, we don't think you're doing anything wrong. Go to the cashier, give your ID. But now that you had us call gaming, now we feel like you're hiding something. And based on this law, now we have the right to get your information, or we will put you on a list and refuse you entry next time you come in. So you understand what they're doing here. They're basically using the law so that it makes it so that they force themselves, they're forced because of the law to ask you for your ID because you're a suspicious person now. Why did you call gaming, and why did you not want to give your ID? That's suspicious. So now we have to get your ID, even though the law says we don't have to, even though you're not over the CTR limits. This is a big deal, guys. This makes a lot of sense, and it's a big deal. And you got to be careful because casinos can manipulate this at 2,500, even though their rule is 3,000. If they want to know who you are, they can say that you're suspicious. Now, with me, I have some pushback here. Well, they're like, well, we want to make sure that you're not a banned player. But if I was cashing out 2,500, you're not going to make sure that I wasn't a banned player. And when I was buying in, you didn't make sure that I wasn't a banned player. Kind of like them saying, well, we want to ID you at the table because we don't think you're old enough. Well, I've been playing for an hour and a half, and now you want my ID, which is baloney, because if my ID says that I'm not old enough, you guys broke the law, and now you're going to have to pay fines. That's not really the reason that you're asking me for it. You're using that as an excuse. The real reason is because you want to know my identity. I hope that makes sense. Hope that wasn't too long-winded. I'll be back. Alright guys, I'm not going to beat a dead horse anymore. I'm going to let it go for now. Still continuing on my trip home. It will be sunrise by the time I get home. So I'm just going to let you go, and I'll catch up with you tomorrow. I'm not sure if I'm going to be playing tomorrow or not due to a busy work schedule, but you'll find out. If you have any questions or comments, the email is mwusa21@gmail.com, mwusa21@gmail.com. See you next time.